Hello and good day. My name is Dapo Olanipekun. I'm the founder of Charis Music School. Um, Charis Music School has reached more than 180 musicians in the last 4 years. The music school is premised on simplicity, that is bringing concepts that seem difficult to beginner musicians mostly, um, making it in a form that's very easy to relate with. So, music is not difficult. Music already exists in you. So when you're trying to learn, a musical instrument, or you're trying to understand music more through training, what we're doing at Charis Music School is we're bringing out the music already in you in a more refined form, professionally. So it's not the case that music exists outside you. That's not the case. You are a musician already. You're just only going through the requisite platform for you to bring out the music in you in a refined manner, in the best manner possible. So, and that's the aim of the training at Charis Music School. So, and that's why it's easier, for us to replicate the knowledge, of those musical concepts in our students. Our students find it very stressless and seamless to learn musical instruments, like such as the voice, the piano, the guitar, the violin, the saxophone, and every other musical instrument. Um, there are certain songs that you know already. Rather than presenting music to you as a foreign concept, like this is the music sheet, these are staffs, these are the bars, this is the treble clef, that has its own place. But I, as the founder in particular, believe that when you're starting out in music, it's not the very first thing. The coding of music is not the very first thing you encounter, because your music is already in you. There are some songs you know already, so we're going to use those songs, to introduce music to you. Right, and music that we're talking about is really not so far-fetched. The very first basic coding for music are the first 7 letters of the English alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. If you know the 7 letters of the English alphabet, congratulations, you know at least some part of music, of the elementary music coding already. So those 7 letters have a particular relationship between them in music. And in music, they're not referred to as letters, they're referred to as notes or keys, depending on the context in which we're talking from. So those 7 alphabets of English, there's a certain relationship between them, between B and C, and also between E and F. There's a sort of partial relationship going on there, you know uh, whereas the other notes, there is a non-partial relationship. That is, there is a normal relationship going on between them. That's like a full step relationship, or in music, tone distance relationship. So we only have the semitone distance, or the partial relationship, occurring between B and C, notes B to C, then also notes E to F. That's the foundation of music. All those notes, the 7 letters of the English alphabet, they're the ones combined in different forms with a couple of other 5 notes to make all of the music you've previously, or let me correct that and say most of the music you've been listening to, the ones you are listening to currently and the ones you will listen to, are premised on those 12 different notes. So I mentioned there's 7 natural notes earlier. So there are 5 other notes that exist, in between the notes that don't have a partial relationship. So I mentioned earlier that the partial relationship occurs between B and C, and also E and F. So we have we have those 5 other notes existing between the notes that don't have a partial relationship. That is the notes that have a full distance, a full tone distance relationship, right? So that means between A and B, we've got another note in between there, not between B and C. So between C and D, we've got another note in between there somewhere. Between D and E, we've got another note there. Between E and F, no notes. It's a partial relationship, right? B and C, E and F, partial relationship. So between F and G, we have a note existing between F and G. Then when we get to G in music is a cycle. So when we get to G, we're not going to have H, I, J, K like I said, right? We're just dealing with the first 7 letters. We're going to have A again. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. You know, like that as... and that's why we have like, you know, really lengthy instruments, and they have different pitches. They have different repetitions of those same notes. That's the reason why we can have you know, a piano this long, and a guitar that, you know, has so many strings and so many frets on it. The frets are the lines on the guitar. So so that's basically it, you know, about the elementary part of music. So the notes that exist in between the 7 notes, the first 7 I mentioned, you know, the letters that have become notes now, are between A and B. I mentioned there's a note, right? Because between A and B we don't have a partial relationship, we have a full tone relationship between them. So between A and B, we actually have this note called A sharp, right? And what does that mean? Sharp means you're increasing the relationship a note has with itself by half. We can put it that way if we are talking about using the terminology of relationship. I'm trying to define you know, the terms from that standpoint. So between A and B you have A sharp, right? A sharp is you've increased A by a semitone, and A sharp can also be called B flat, right? What does flat mean? Flat means you reduce a note by a semitone. Do you understand? So B flat, right, is the same as what? A sharp. And ditto for the other relationships we have to where we don't have a partial relationship, where we have a full tone relationship. The note that exists in between can have 2 names, right? So between A and B we have a full tone relationship, right? Not partial, full tone. So we have A sharp or B flat, the same thing, you know. B flat means we're flattening the B, we're reducing a semitone from B, so we get B flat. We're increasing A by a semitone, we get A sharp. A sharp, B flat, the same thing. Then between B and C we have a partial relationship, right? No notes exist between them. Therefore what that means is we don't have, for now as beginner musicians, we don't have a B sharp note, we don't have a C flat note. Moving on, C, between C and D we have a note in between there, right? Because we have a full tone relationship, not partial. So between C and D we have C sharp, which can also be called D flat. Then between D and E we have D sharp, which can also be called E flat. Between E and F, what do we have? We've got nothing in between. We don't have E sharp, we don't have F flat, because we have a partial relationship between E and F. Between F and G we have F sharp or G flat. Between G and A we have G sharp, right, or A flat, you know, and we're back to A, and the cycle continues all over again. So basically, you know, in music we have 12 notes, right? A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, right? Then G sharp, then A. So let's go again. Let me count all together. So we have A sharp, B, C, yeah, C, A sharp, B, C sharp, yeah, D sharp, E, F sharp, right? That's 10. Then we have G, then we have G sharp, yeah, then we're back to A, which was our very first note. So that's 12 notes, and we can also call them 12 keys. So each of these notes, there's a particular way we must combine them to make reasonable music. On the keyboard, anywhere you have two black keys, the white note before the first couple of two black keys is a C note, right? So you can see it as this. On the keyboard you have the relationship such as like dad, mom, three children, like a family, where you have dad and mom and triplets. So the dad is the first black key, the mom is the one that's close by, then right after that you have a noticeable gap, you have three black keys. Right after that another noticeable gap, then two black keys, then noticeable gap, three black keys. So anyway you have a C note, that's gonna be anyway you have the first couple before in the pair of the two blacks, the dad and mom, the white note before the dad, the white note before the first black note in the couple of two black notes, in the pair of two black notes rather, the first white note there before that is a C note, right? So bearing that in mind, you would easily be able to iron out where all those other notes are on the keyboard. So you have the C note, the D note, the E note, the F note, the G note, then you have A, you don't have H, remember, A, B, C, all through like that, so that's the foundation for music. Then you have a major scale. The major scale is an order of intervals mandatory for a major scale to exist. A major scale is a compendium of notes, that have been arranged in a certain order for which only major scales can exist, and that's tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So that order is used to build the notes of a major scale. And because we have 12 notes, we can have 12 possibilities of a major scale. We apply those the major scale's interval structure to one of the notes for the tonic. The tonic means starting note and also ending note. After you add all the intervals to the tonic, you get the tonic back again, on the ending side. So the tonic is basically the alpha and omega of the scale. So we can have, since we have 12 notes, we can have 12 different possibilities of tonics, of tonic notes, right? Or tonal centers. Tonic also means tonal center. We can have 12 different possibilities. So that means we can have 12 keys, right? So in the key of C major, the major scale for that is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. When you apply these intervals, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, correctly to them, you're going to get some other notes which will eventually lead you back to the C that you started from, So the major scale is used to, fish out notes that we're going to use to make music. And after we draw out the major scale, using the major scale's interval structure, then we're going to draw out chords from the major scale that we got, right? It's not difficult at all. We're going to draw chords from major scale, triad chords, for the beginner musician, right? We have triad chords, we have 7th chords, we have 9th chords, we have 11th chords, we have 13th chords. Those are extensions, and those are more intermediate, advanced level ish. But for beginners, you're looking at just triad chords, that is 3 notes chords that involve 3 notes to be formed, and most times they'll be picked in tertiary harmony. Tertiary harmony means you're picking them in thirds, right? Either a major third or a minor third interval, So and you have 3 types of chords that you can draw from a major scale in that category: major chords, minor chords, and diminished chord. 1 diminished chord. Your major chords most times will fall in the position of 1, 4, and 5. Minor chords will fall in the category of 2, 3, 6. Your diminished chord will fall in the category of 7, right? Degree 7. So that's basically all of it. So a major chord structure is root, major third, perfect fifth. Between the root and the major third, you have 2 tones. Between the major third and the perfect fifth, you have 1.5 tones. For a minor chord, it's root, minor third, perfect fifth. Between the root and the minor third, you have 1.5 tones. Between the minor third and the perfect fifth, you have 2 tones. Whereas for a diminished chord, the structure is root, minor third, diminished fifth. Between the root and the minor third, you have 1.5 tones. Between the minor third and the diminished fifth, you have 1.5 tones as well. Right, those are the 3 chord possibilities you can get from a major scale. Except it's not a major scale, then you get different chords like augmented, if it's a Barry Harris's minor sixth scale, you can get a minor chord with a sharp 13. You can get a diminished 7 chord. Yeah, I know that's sounding a whole lot more sophisticated than what I was talking about earlier. Those are intermediate advanced concepts, but of course you get in touch with them as time goes on. So you build out chords, then these chords you can play songs to them, right? You can play songs to back them up using those chords, and you know those chords are what inform what we call a progression. Depending on the song, you know, different chords will follow each other in a certain way. You know, the chords will not follow each other as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can draw out 7 chords, right? Like I said, chords 1, 4, 5 would be major, 2, 3, 6 would be minor, chord 7 will be diminished. Depending on the song, you may be required to play chord 2, you may be required to play chord 4, you may be required to play chord 7. You know, most times you want to end on the 1 and start on the 1, because the 1 is like home, like tonic. So the chords help you play songs, and the beauty of this is I have a manual that's called Song Bank. It contains the chord progression of all the songs in it. Not all the songs in the world, but it contains the chord progressions of 105 songs, right? 60 worship songs, 40 praise songs, and five of the most popular Christmas songs: Silent Night, Jingle Bells, Joy to the World. It's here. So and it also has 50 chord progressions. You know, 50 of the most commonly played chord progressions that would actually build up your sense of listening, your relative pitch, your ability to hear, a musical note by ear, and also simplified music for music theory understanding. So I wrote both books, by the way, and they are also on Amazon as well. So please make do to get your copy. It will bless you a whole lot. I do not train without my manuals. I wrote them personally to simplify music, right? For people, anyone can learn a musical instrument. Anyone can sing. As far as you're determined, you're passionate, you're ready to put in the work to it, you definitely see the results. For me, for instance, as well, using myself for example, it's not like I studied music in school. I read economics, and to the glory of God, I could come up with these to simplify music for people. So if I could do that, then definitely you can do that and much more. Once you're starting from where I left off, which is getting the music manuals. That's your first cue, and believe you me, you'll be making a whole lot of progress and sharing your testimony soon as well. Like a lot of students we've raised that have shared their testimonies as well, and they refer us. So thanks so much for your time, for joining in. I hope that clarified, demystified what music is in a way, and what you can expect from enrolling for Charis Music School's training. So I hope to see you in the class soon. Do enjoy the rest of your day.